Look at this guy. He drives a nice car, wears trendy clothes, and never misses a weekend party. To his friends, he looks rich. To his bank account, he is completely, undeniably broke. Now look at this guy. He looks entirely ordinary. You wouldn't look at him twice on the street. But while the first guy is stressed about paying next month's rent, this guy hasn't worried about bills in 3 years. Why? Because he understands a hidden rule of money that 95% of the population will never figure out until it's far too late. The truth is this: building real, generational wealth has almost absolutely nothing to do with how much money you make from your job. Read that again. It has everything to do with when you start doing something with the money you already have. Most people live under a massive delusion. They tell themselves, "Oh, I'm only 20. I'm only 25. I don't make enough money right now. When I get a promotion, when I hit a 6-figure salary, that is when I'll start saving." But by the time they hit that age, they realize they made a fatal mathematical mistake. In this video, I am going to prove to you, using nothing but simple whiteboard math, no financial jargon, no complicated charts, how a tiny, almost laughable sum of $100 a month can completely change your life. And I'm going to show you how waiting just a few short years can literally cost you $500,000. If you want to stop trading every single hour of your life for a paycheck and want your money to start doing the heavy lifting for you instead, turn off your notifications. Give me 10 minutes. This could be the most important 10 minutes of your financial life. Let's get into the math. Okay, before we talk about making money, let's talk about how most people lose it while thinking they are being smart. What is the standard advice your parents, your teachers, and society gave you about money? Work hard, earn a paycheck, and save your money in a secure bank account. It sounds safe. It sounds responsible. It is a complete trap. Let's look at the absolute best-case scenario. You put $1,000 into a standard savings account. Your bank tells you they are giving you a high-yield interest rate of 3% per year. You walk away feeling like a financial genius. You think your money is safe and growing. One full year passes. You check your account. Your $1,000 has earned you exactly $30. You can barely buy a decent lunch with that. But it gets worse. While your money was sitting in that dark vault, a silent monster was creeping through the economy. Meet inflation. Inflation is the reason why a cup of coffee that cost $2 a few years ago now costs $5. It is the reason why rent goes up, gas goes up, and groceries get more expensive. On average, inflation eats away at the value of your money by about 4 to 5% every single year. Let's do the real math. Your bank gave you 3%. The cost of living went up by 5%. This means your money actually lost 2% of its purchasing power while sitting in the bank. Your account balance went up from $1,000 to $1,030. But that $1,030 can now buy fewer things than your $1,000 could buy a year ago. The bank didn't protect your wealth, it slowly suffocated it. Keeping all your money in a savings account is a guaranteed way to become poorer over time. If you want to break out of this trap, you need to stop saving and start magnifying your money. And the only way to do that is through a concept known as compounding. You've probably heard the term compound interest before, but most people think of it as a boring math formula from high school. Let's change that. Imagine you are at the top of a massive snow-covered hill. You pack a tiny snowball in your hands and push it gently down the slope. At first, nothing spectacular happens. The snowball rolls a few feet and picks up a microscopic layer of snow. If you stop looking at it now, you'd say, "Wow, what a waste of time. That didn't do anything." This is where most beginners quit. They don't see immediate results, so they walk away. But watch what happens if you just leave it alone. As the snowball continues to roll, its surface area grows. Because it is bigger, it catches more snow. Because it catches more snow, it gets even bigger. The growth is no longer slow, it becomes exponential. By the time it hits the bottom of the hill, it is an unstoppable force of nature. This is exactly how wealth creation works. The mountain is time, the snow is interest, and that tiny original handful of snow is your initial investment. Compounding is the process where your money earns interest, and then that interest earns interest, and then the interest on that interest earns even more interest. You are essentially creating an army of tiny financial soldiers. Every single dollar you invest is a soldier that goes out into the world to capture more dollars for you. But to build a massive army, you need to understand the absolute baseline story of how timing changes the entire battle. To see the true, terrifying power of this concept, let me introduce you to two childhood best friends, Alex and Jordan. They grew up in the exact same town, went to the exact same university, and graduated in the exact same month. They even managed to land jobs at the exact same corporate firm, making an identical starting salary of $4,000 a month. They were completely equal in every single way except for one subtle, seemingly minor choice they made in their early 20s regarding their personal finances. At age 22, Alex decides to read a book on basic personal finance. He learns about index funds, which are essentially baskets that hold shares of the top 500 largest companies in America, like Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft. The historical average return of this market over long periods is roughly 10% per year. Alex realizes he doesn't need to be rich to start. He cuts out 2 restaurant meals a month and automates a recurring deposit of exactly $100 every single month into that fund. He sets it, forgets it, and goes about his life. Meanwhile, Jordan thinks Alex is being completely ridiculous. Jordan says, "Bro, we are only 22 years old. We worked so hard in college just to spend our 20s acting like boring old accountants. I want to live my life right now. I'll buy the premium clothes, upgrade my car, go to festivals, and enjoy my youth. I have 40 years to save for retirement. I'll start later when my salary doubles." A full decade passes by in the blink of an eye. Both friends turn 32 years old. One evening over dinner, Jordan looks at his finances and realizes he has absolutely zero savings. He starts to panic a little bit about his future. He remembers Alex's strategy from 10 years ago. Jordan decides it's finally time to get serious. At age 32, he opens the exact same investment account, picks the exact same 10% index fund, and commits to investing the exact same amount, $100 every single month. Both friends now maintain their habits flawlessly, without missing a single payment, all the way until they reach the retirement age of 65. Fast forward to their 65th birthday party. They are standing next to each other, ready to quit their jobs forever and withdraw their cash. Let's look at the absolute, indisputable mathematical reality of what happened to their money while they were sleeping. Let's check Alex first. Because Alex started at age 22 and continued until 65, he invested for a total of 43 years. The total amount of physical cash he took out of his wallet and deposited into the account over his entire life was $51,600. But because he gave his money 43 long years to compound down that massive snowy mountain, his final account balance didn't just grow linearly, it exploded. Alex retires with an astronomical total of approximately $683,000. Now let's switch over to Jordan. Because Jordan delayed his start until age 32, he invested for a total of 33 years. The total amount of physical cash he deposited out of his pocket over his lifetime was $39,600. Because his money missed out on those crucial first 10 years of compounding, his final retirement balance comes out to approximately $217,000. Don't get me wrong, $217,000 is a fantastic cushion compared to most people who save nothing. But let's look at what happens when we place these two accounts side by side. Let's look at the difference. Jordan deposited a total of $39,600. Alex deposited a total of $51,600. This means Alex out-invested Jordan out of his own pocket by only $12,000. That's just a tiny $1,200 a year difference over a decade. But the difference in their final wealth is a staggering, mind-melting $466,000. Think about that deeply. Alex invested just $12,000 more cash than Jordan, but he received nearly $500,000 of extra pure profit. Jordan didn't lose his money in a market crash. He didn't pick bad companies. He didn't make mistakes. He just waited 10 years to pull the trigger. And that one simple delay, that decade of saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," cost him exactly $466,000 in cold cash. That is the real, terrifying price of procrastination. Now, your brain might be trying to understand how this is mathematically possible. It feels like a magic trick or a scam. Why does a tiny 10-year head start create such a massive, unbridgeable gap at the end? Let's look at the anatomy of the compounding curve. Look at the first 15 years of investing. The growth looks completely uninspiring. If you invest $100 a month at 10%, After year 1, you have about $1,260. After year 5, you have around $7,700. It feels slow. You feel like you're getting nowhere. This is the danger zone where most people give up, cash out their accounts, and buy a new television. But look at what happens around year 25 and 30. This is where the magic occurs. This is the point on the hill where the snowball has become so massive that it no longer needs you to push it. The interest earned on your account is now significantly larger than the actual money you are depositing every month. By the final years of Alex's timeline, his account isn't growing by $100 a month anymore. It is growing by thousands of dollars a month entirely because of interest. Jordan's account never got to experience those final, hyper-explosive years of growth because his timeline was cut short by a decade. The undeniable law of compounding is that the heaviest wealth accumulation happens at the very end of the timeline, not the beginning. But you can only experience the end if you start early enough to let the clock run. Time is the ultimate amplifier. If you give your money time, it will make you rich. If you deny your money time, no amount of hard work or high salary can easily make up for the loss. Alright, so you've seen the math, you've heard the story of Alex and Jordan, and you understand that your savings account is secretly draining your wealth. You don't want to be Jordan, looking back with $500,000 of regret. So what do you actually do right now, today, to ensure you end up like Alex? Step 1. Stop waiting for a massive salary. If you have $10, $20, or $100 a month, that is more than enough to begin. Open a basic, low-cost brokerage account with an established, trusted platform like Vanguard, Fidelity, or Charles Schwab. If you are in India, platforms like Grow or Zerodha do the exact same thing. It takes less than 10 minutes to set up an account online. Step 2. Pick a broad market index fund. You do not need to follow the stock market news, you don't need to pick individual trending stocks, and you definitely don't need to take massive risks with sketchy cryptocurrencies. Look for an index fund that tracks the S&P 500, like VOO or SPY. By buying just one share of this fund, you are instantly investing in the 500 strongest companies in the world. If one company struggles, the other 499 carry the load. Step 3. Automate the entire process. This is the most crucial step. Do not rely on your willpower to invest every month. Set up an automatic recurring transfer from your checking account to your investment account the day after you get paid. Make it invisible. Force yourself to live on whatever is left over. Every single day you spend waiting, scrolling, and telling yourself, "I'll start next year," is a day you are actively stealing wealth from your future self. Time is slipping away whether you choose to use it or not. 10 years from now, you are going to be 10 years older no matter what. The only question left to answer is, are you going to have Alex's vault or Jordan's regret? The choice is entirely yours. Start today.